I have seen many seasons come and go. I have watched the young believe they have all the time in the world, while the old cling to memories of days that slipped through their fingers like sand. But time is not a thing you can bargain with. It does not wait for you to be ready. It does not pause when you look away. And sometimes, without you realizing it, the hourglass is down to its final grains. I have seen men wake up thinking they had years ahead, only to be gone before the next one came around. They never saw the signs, but I did. I have learned to recognize the quiet warnings life gives before it pulls the final curtain. They are not loud. They do not come with flashing lights or ringing bells. They are subtle, but once you see them, you cannot unsee them. And if you feel even a whisper of these in your life, you must understand. You may not have as much time as you think. There comes a moment when you start feeling more tired than usual, but you brush it off. You tell yourself it is just age, just stress, just a bad night's sleep. But deep down, you know this tiredness is different. It is not the kind that goes away with rest. It lingers. It weighs on your bones. It makes every step feel heavier than the last. And then you realize you are losing interest in things you once loved. The food that once made your mouth water now tastes bland. The music that once made you tap your foot now feels like noise. The people you used to seek out now seem distant, not because they have changed, but because something inside you has shifted. You tell yourself it is just a phase, that you will snap out of it. But the days pass, and the feeling deepens. The world starts to look a little less colorful, a little less alive. That is the first whisper. Then you begin to notice that your body is not recovering like it used to. A small cut takes longer to heal. A bruise lingers for weeks. A cough that should have been gone in days stretches into months. You tell yourself it is nothing. But you feel it, don't you? The slowness, the hesitation in your own body. You wake up in the morning feeling stiff, but not just from sleep. There is something else, something unspoken. You try to shake it off. You force a smile. But in the quiet moments, when no one is watching, you wonder. Then there are the dreams, not the kind that fill you with hope, but the ones that remind you of things you left unfinished. People long gone start visiting you in your sleep. Faces you have not seen in years suddenly appear, not as memories, but as if they are right there with you. They do not speak in words, but you feel the weight of their presence. Sometimes they look at you with knowing eyes, other times they simply stand beside you as if waiting. And when you wake, there is an ache in your chest, a feeling you cannot shake. It is as if something is calling you from the other side, reminding you that there are things you have left undone. Then there is the stillness that follows you, even in the noisiest of places. It is not silence. It is something deeper, something only you can feel. The world around you moves, as it always has, but you feel separate from it. You find yourself watching people laugh, talk, rush through their days, but it feels distant, as if you are watching from behind glass. You catch yourself staring at the sky a little longer, noticing the way the wind moves through the trees, feeling the weight of time pressing against your skin. And then comes the realization that the things that once seemed so important no longer hold the same power. The worries, the arguments, the petty struggles, they start to seem so small, so insignificant. You start thinking about what really mattered, about what you would change if you had more time. And that thought lingers, whispering to you when you least expect it. Then, the final sign, the one that makes you stop and truly listen. It is not always physical. Sometimes it is a deep, unshakable knowing. A quiet voice that tells you, in the stillness of the night, that your time is running out. It is not fear. It is not panic. It is a calm, steady realization. You feel the weight of all the years behind you, and for the first time, you understand how fleeting they truly were. You start remembering the moments you took for granted, the times you thought you had forever, the people you should have held on to a little longer, the love you should have expressed while you had the chance. And then, if you are lucky, you will see the truth. It is not too late, not yet, not if you are reading this, not if you are still breathing. Because if life has given you the gift of recognizing these signs, then it has also given you the chance to do something about it. I have seen men ignore them. I have seen them waste the last of their days in regret, too afraid to change, too stubborn to act. But I have also seen those who woke up just in time, who understood that the final chapter is still theirs to write. And when they did, they lived with a fire that had been missing for years. They reached out to the ones they loved. They spoke the words they had been holding back. They let go of the grudges that weighed them down. They looked at the sunrise with fresh eyes, knowing it might be their last, but loving it all the same. If you feel these signs in your bones, do not waste another moment. Because the truth is, whether you have 1 year or 10, life is never as long as we think it is. But it is not too late to make it count. It is not too late to leave behind something worth remembering. It is not too late to love, to forgive, to truly live. But only if you start now, because time is still moving, and the hourglass does not wait. Now, let's clear some common questions. What would you do differently if you knew, with absolute certainty, that you only had 1 year left? Would you love harder, forgive faster, and embrace life fully? I have lived long enough to know that most people walk through life as if time is endless. They believe there will always be another day, another chance, another tomorrow. They waste time on things that do not matter, carry grudges as if they are trophies, and hold back love as if it is a finite resource. But let me tell you something I have learned. The moment you know your days are numbered, everything changes. If I knew with absolute certainty that I only had 1 year left, I would not wait another second to start living the way I should have been all along. The first thing I would do is love harder. Not just in words, but in action. I would wake up every morning and tell the people in my life exactly what they mean to me. I would not assume they already know, because I have seen too many leave this world never hearing the words they longed for. I would hold my loved ones a little longer, look them in the eyes when they speak, and listen with my whole heart. I would not rush through conversations or let distractions pull me away. I would show love in the little things, the way I laugh at their jokes, the way I remember the small details, the way I make them feel seen. Because when time is running out, you realize love is not about grand gestures. It is about presence. It is about making someone feel valued while you still have the chance. And yes, I would forgive faster, not because the people who hurt me deserve it, but because I deserve peace. I have carried anger in my heart before, and let me tell you, it is a heavy burden. It eats away at your spirit, robs you of joy, and chains you to the past. If I only had 1 year left, I would not waste a single day clinging to resentment. I would reach out to those I have wronged and ask for forgiveness with no pride in my voice, only sincerity. And I would forgive those who wronged me, not because it is easy, but because holding on to pain does not make the past better. It only makes the present harder. I would let go of the grudges that no longer serve me. I would make peace with the fact that some people may never apologize, and that is okay. My heart would be lighter because I would finally understand that forgiveness is not about them. It is about freeing myself. I would embrace life fully in a way I never dared before. I would not wait for the perfect moment to do the things I have always wanted to do. I would not hold back my laughter or silence my excitement just to fit into the expectations of others. I would dance even if my body ached. I would sing even if my voice cracked. I would walk barefoot on the grass and let the earth remind me that I am still alive. I would taste every meal as if it were my last, savoring every bite instead of rushing through it. I would watch the sunrise and truly see it, not just glance at it on my way to something else. I would take deep breaths and appreciate the miracle of simply being here, because that is something most people forget to do until it is too late. I would stop waiting for someday. Someday is a dangerous word, a lie we tell ourselves to justify our hesitation. Someday, I will take that trip. Someday, I will say what I feel. Someday, I will mend that relationship. But when you know time is running out, someday disappears. There is only today. So I would take that trip, not caring about the perfect timing or the perfect circumstances. I would tell people how I feel, even if it scares me. I would mend relationships, even if it means swallowing my pride. I would not wait for the stars to align, because I would finally understand that they are already aligned. I would spend more time with the people who truly matter, not the ones who drain my energy or fill my days with empty conversations, but the ones who make my heart feel full. I would sit with old friends and reminisce about the good times, not letting petty differences stand in the way of connection. I would visit family members I have not seen in too long and let them know they are not forgotten. I would hold my grandchildren a little closer, knowing that every hug is a gift. I would not waste time scrolling through meaningless distractions when I could be making real memories with real people. I would speak my truth without hesitation. Too many people go through life swallowing their words, hiding their thoughts, and pretending to be something they are not just to please others. I have done it myself. But if I had only 1 year left, I would no longer care about fitting into a mold. I would say what I truly believe. I would tell my story the way it deserves to be told. I would share my wisdom, my mistakes, my lessons, hoping that someone might learn from them. I would not hide my emotions, because there is no time for pretense when the end is near. I would appreciate the little things in a way I never did before. The warmth of the sun on my face, the sound of rain tapping against the window, the way the wind moves through the trees. These are the moments we overlook when we think we have forever. But if I had only 1 year, I would treasure them like the rarest jewels. I would find beauty in the ordinary, because I would finally understand that the ordinary is what makes life extraordinary. And most of all, I would leave nothing unsaid. I have seen people take their last breath with words still trapped inside them, words of love, of apology, of gratitude. I would not let that be me. I would tell my children how proud I am of them, my friends how much they mean to me, and even strangers how beautiful this world can be if we just open our eyes. I would leave behind a legacy of love, not regrets. If you are reading this, then you still have time. Do not wait until the clock is against you to start living the way you were meant to live. Love harder. Forgive faster. Embrace life fully. Do it now, while you still can. Because someday is not promised. But today is here, waiting for you to make the most of it. Is it possible that life gives us warnings not to scare us, but to offer us a final chance to make peace, to reconnect, and to truly live before the clock runs out? I have lived long enough to know that life is not random. It is not a chaotic mess of accidents and coincidences. No, life has a way of speaking to us, a way of whispering truths that we often refuse to hear. I have seen men and women reach their final days with a strange sense of clarity, as if something had been preparing them all along. I have watched as they suddenly felt the need to mend broken relationships, to say the things they had kept inside for too long, to live in a way they had never dared before. And I have wondered, is it possible that life gives us warnings not to scare us, but to offer us a final chance to make peace, to reconnect, and to truly live before the clock runs out? I believe it is. I have seen the signs too many times to think otherwise. There are moments when a person begins to feel something they cannot quite explain. It is not fear, not panic, but a quiet knowing. They start to think about their past more than their future, as if something deep within them is calling them to reflect. Old memories surface, not just the good ones, but the painful ones too. Regrets begin to weigh heavier. They find themselves thinking about the people they hurt, the moments they let slip away, the love they held back out of pride or fear. It is as if life is gently reminding them that there is still time to make things right, but not much of it. And if they listen, if they truly pay attention, they will realize that this is not a punishment. It is a gift. I have known men who carried anger with them for decades. They swore they would never forgive, never forget. Then, as if something shifted in the universe, they woke up one day feeling the weight of it in a way they never had before. It no longer felt like power, it felt like a chain. And suddenly, they had the urge to let go, to pick up the phone and call an old friend, to visit a brother they had not spoken to in years, to finally say, "I am sorry," or "I forgive you." And when they did, they felt lighter, as if some invisible force had been guiding them toward this moment, urging them to free themselves before it was too late. I have seen it happen too many times to believe it is just coincidence. Then there are those who begin to dream of the people they lost. They wake up in the middle of the night with the feeling that someone from the other side has been near. They see faces they have not thought about in years, feel their presence as if they are trying to say something. Some dismiss it as the mind playing tricks, but I have learned to see it differently. I believe these dreams are not random. They are reminders that love does not disappear, that unfinished business still lingers, that there are things we need to say while we still can. It is life giving us one last opportunity to reach out, to make peace with the living and the dead, to say the things we will not have the chance to say once we are gone. I have watched people become suddenly aware of the beauty around them, as if their eyes have been opened for the first time. They stop rushing through their days and start noticing the way the wind moves through the trees, the way laughter sounds like music, the way the sun feels on their skin. It is not that these things were not there before, it is that they never truly saw them. And why now? Why does this awareness come when time is running short? Because life is kind, and it does not want us to leave without understanding what we were given. It wants us to see, to feel, to appreciate. It wants us to embrace every breath while we still can. I have seen people suddenly feel the need to share their truth, to tell their stories, to make sure they are understood before they go. They sit their children down and speak of things they never spoke of before. They write letters, record messages, pass down wisdom they had been holding inside for years. It is as if life is telling them, now is the time. Not later, not someday, now. And those who listen leave behind something far greater than possessions. They leave behind understanding, connection, love. They do not leave with their song still trapped inside them. I do not believe life warns us out of cruelty. I do not believe it tries to frighten us or make us suffer. I believe it loves us enough to give us a chance to heal what is broken, to speak what is unspoken, to live the way we were meant to live all along. But it is up to us to listen. Some ignore the signs. They convince themselves they have more time. They push away the feelings, silence the urges, tell themselves they will deal with it later. But later is not promised. Later is an illusion. And when their time finally comes, they leave with regrets that did not have to be there. Then there are those who listen, who take the hand that life extends and use their final days not in fear, but in purpose. They forgive, they love. They embrace every moment with the understanding that this is their final chapter, and they want to write it well. And when the end comes, they go in peace. They leave knowing they did what they could, that they made things right, that they did not waste the time they were given. I have seen too much to believe that life is random. I have felt its whispers, its nudges, its quiet insistence that we pay attention before it is too late. I know now that the warnings are not punishments. They are mercy. They are love. They are the final gift we receive before we take our last breath. And if you feel them, if you feel the pull to forgive, to reconnect, to finally live, do not ignore it. Do not wait. Because the truth is, life is speaking to you. The only question is, will you listen? If you knew you were at the end, would you regret how you spent your days? Or would you find comfort in knowing that you truly lived while you had the chance? If you knew you were at the end, would you regret how you spent your days? Or would you find comfort in knowing that you truly lived while you had the chance? That is a question most people do not ask themselves until it is too late. I have lived long enough to see men and women face their final moments. And let me tell you, it is never about how much money they made or how many things they owned. It is about how they spent their time, who they loved, and whether they had the courage to truly live while they had the chance. I have sat beside men who could not stop whispering regrets. They talked about the chances they never took, the people they pushed away, the words they left unspoken. They thought they had more time. They thought life would wait for them to be ready. But time does not wait. It moves forward whether we are paying attention or not. These men would hold my hand and say, "If only I had known how fast it would all go." But deep down, I think they did know. We all know. We just choose to ignore it because the truth is too heavy to carry. And then there are those who close their eyes with a quiet peace. They do not need to say, "If only." They smile, they breathe, they know. They spent their days in a way that mattered. They loved deeply. They forgave easily. They did not wait for a perfect moment to do what was in their hearts. They lived. And that is the difference between leaving this world in regret and leaving it in peace. It is not about how long you were here. It is about how much of yourself you gave while you were. I have learned that the people who regret their lives the most are the ones who are always waiting. Waiting for the right time to follow their dreams. Waiting for the right words to fix a broken relationship. Waiting for the courage to say, "I love you," or "I am sorry." But the right time never comes wrapped in certainty. It never arrives with a perfect sign saying, "Now is the moment." The right time is always now. And those who understand that are the ones who leave with peace instead of regret. If I knew I was at the end, I would ask myself one question. Did I live fully, or did I just exist? There is a difference. Existing is waking up every day and moving through the motions, waiting for something to change, believing that someday you will get around to the things that matter. Living is waking up with intention, knowing that every day is a gift, that every moment is an opportunity. I have met too many people who only realized the difference when it was too late to choose. They spent their years working, building, chasing, but never stopping to enjoy what was already in front of them. And then, suddenly, they ran out of time. If I knew I was at the end, I would not care about the mistakes I made. I would care about whether I had learned from them. I would not dwell on the things I failed at. I would think about whether I had the courage to try. Failure is not what haunts a person in their final days. It is the fear that kept them from ever stepping forward in the first place. I have known men who never told the woman they loved how they felt because they were afraid of rejection. I have known women who never chased their dreams because they feared what people would say. These are the things that leave people full of regret. Not the times they failed, but the times they never even tried. If I knew I was at the end, I would not wish for more money or more possessions. I would wish for more laughter, more nights spent around a table with the people I love, more mornings waking up with a heart full of gratitude instead of a mind full of worry, more time holding the hands of my children, my grandchildren, my friends, feeling their warmth, knowing that love is the only thing that ever really mattered. If I knew I was at the end, I would think about the words I spoke. Did I use my voice to lift others up? Or did I waste it on anger, gossip, and complaints? Words have power. I have seen people carry wounds for a lifetime because of something that was said to them in a moment of thoughtlessness. And I have seen others carry love in their hearts because of something kind that was said decades ago. If I knew my time was up, I would hope that my words left people better than they found them. If I knew I was at the end, I would ask myself if I left something behind that mattered. Not money, not property, but something real. A lesson, a story, a memory that makes someone smile long after I am gone. I have seen people live their whole lives without leaving a single meaningful thing behind. And I have seen others whose presence is still felt in the laughter of their children, in the kindness they showed, in the love they gave without condition. So I ask you, if you were at the end, would you be at peace? Or would you be filled with regret? Would you wish you had spent more time worrying, more time holding grudges, more time chasing things that do not matter? Or would you wish you had loved harder, laughed louder, and embraced every single moment while you had the chance? The truth is, you already know the answer. It is the same answer we all have deep down. We just do not like to face it. But one day, we will have no choice. One day, the question will not be hypothetical. And when that day comes, I hope with everything in me that you can smile, take a deep breath, and say, "Yes, I truly lived." If you liked today's discussion, don't forget to like the video. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated with every video we release. And yes, don't forget to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments. Every comment is special to us. Your feedback helps us improve further. We'll continue to meet you in every new video on this channel. So until next time, take care.